We're following some breaking news tonight. Juli Boeheim, the philanthropist, the wife of SU basketball coach Jim Boeheim, was robbed at gunpoint this afternoon at Destiny USA Mall. A terrifying encounter in the parking lot in the middle of the afternoon for Juli Boeheim. Now, police say she was in her car. She was approached by a young man. According to the 911 dispatchers, he may have been as young as 12 years old and asked for a phone to call his mom. Police say that's when he pointed a gun at Juli Boeheim. Initially tried to take the phone, but took her purse and then took off in a getaway car with two other young kids in that car. This is the latest, a most high profile in a series of crimes that have plagued Destiny USA of late, violent crimes. Samantha Croston joins us live at Destiny with more on the history and what shoppers are saying. Samantha.
Well, and in terms of mall safety, just in the last month, there was one shooting in the bathroom. That was for a meetup over an online purchase. There was also an armed robbery at Cheesecake Factory. So it's safe to say that mall employees, they weren't surprised to hear the news about tonight. Another crime at Destiny USA. This time, a shopper threatened with a gun at their car. Chief among mall employees' concerns is the dangers they could face at work. Rhiannon Nagy, an employee at Earthbound Trading Company, says she carries her car keys like this on her walk to her car. It's for self-defense, in fear of someone approaching her.
I always worry, like, if someone's peeking behind my car, or you just never know in the darkness.
But another concern employees brought to me is what they say is a lack of communication by mall management, both during and after incidents occur.
Sometimes we will get calls like that something happened, but it won't be till hours after it's already done. But that's very rare.
That leads to one emotion in particular.
Really disappointed because a lot of stuff happens on a probably weekly basis, and we don't hear about it until sometimes days after my shift at the mall.
Earlier Tuesday, another employee told me that she doesn't think mall security is enough protection on its own and would like to see a full police substation at the mall. That's something we started reporting on in 2019 after a shooting inside the mall. Syracuse Police say they do have a presence in the mall, an office. Nagy also thinks the security could use improvement.
When I do see them, they're kind of standing around watching. Sometimes they shop in our store on shift.
And employees aren't the only ones feeling scared. Earlier when I was here, I was chatting with a man. He was leaving the mall with his family. He already knew about the incident, and even he told me it's dangerous out here.
We're following a developing story at Destiny USA from this afternoon, an armed robbery near the Cheesecake Factory restaurant. Our Samantha Croston's live at Destiny right now with what happened. Sam?
Well, earlier today in the Cheesecake Factory parking lot, a woman had a gun held at her face at around 2 p.m. Police, they haven't told us much so far, but one thing that we do know is that no one is in custody. Sorry, you might be able to hear this fire truck coming behind me, but according to 911 dispatches, a young boy, possibly as young as 12 years old, driving around the mall, stopped a woman and asked to call his mom, then pulled a gun and took the woman's purse and phone. We spoke to a mall employee who saw police scoping out the scene in the aftermath. She says things like this happen more often than they should. Someone she was serving, who also works in the mall, was shaking and visibly upset because she works nights, and events like today make her scared to go to work. The employee I spoke with thinks there needs to be a police substation in the mall and does not feel that mall security only is enough protection for the staff. There is a Syracuse Police office at the mall, but not a full substation. And in terms of mall safety, there was a shooting in the bathroom on February 17th. This was over an online sale, and there was also an armed robbery last week at the Cheesecake Factory parking lot.
Longtime Onondaga County District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick leading the prosecution against Robert Neulander for a second time, 7 years after the first trial. Defending him during the retrial right now is an attorney named Jonathan Bach, a defense attorney from New York City. CBS 5's Connor White is in the studio with new information about the new Neulander defense team.
Tomorrow, that defense team will arrive with Robert Neulander and head inside for opening arguments. For Bach, it's the second time he's defended a man already found guilty of murder in a previous trial. In these opening 2 days of the trial, Robert Neulander has walked close to his defense attorney, Jonathan Bach, through the hallways and sat directly to his right at this table in the courtroom.
Yes, I know him well. I know him to be an extremely thorough and brilliant lawyer.
Susan Nikellis is a defense lawyer in New York City, where Bach's firm Shapiro, Arado, Bach is located. The firm Neulander hired to handle the appeal that got him back to this courthouse for a retrial.
Jonathan has a long history as a defense attorney.
The man now in the old Onondaga County Courthouse started with the federal public defenders in New York, then doing pro bono work, leading to the acquittal of a man who spent 14 years in prison for the murder of a nightclub bouncer in New York City, found guilty in 1992, free in 2007, with Bach on his defense team in the second trial.
Jonathan took an excellent, really dove into it and devoted himself to it.
It's a similar story in Syracuse this week, but there are some key differences.
It was an individual who a lot of facts had come out over time about, which indicated that he was innocent.
That isn't the case for Neulander. Since then, Bach has primarily handled white-collar fraud charges.
And obviously, he's got the kind of experience that is needed to handle a case like this.
Defense lawyer Peter Polano at Tully Rinke says Bach coming from out of town is unlikely to mean much to the jury one way or the other.
The jurors are looking for how the attorney is handling the case, and more specifically, they're looking for the case itself.
Polano offered some insight into what we can expect tomorrow, opening arguments in a trial that in many ways already happened 7 years ago. He says it's not an advantage over the prosecution, but the fact that we've already seen the case against Neulander, as well as witness statements that are now sworn in, favors the defense in round two.